You can make a lot of new friends when you save them money on trucks. Like a new 2011 Toyota Tacoma. Our regular cab is under $21,000. The best-selling compact pickup for 5 years in a row. Making new friends every day at Dahl Toyota in Winona.
Welcome to another edition of Warrior Weekly on this beautiful fall afternoon. Travis Whipple joining me. Travis, a tough weekend for the volleyball team as they also traveled down to Fayette, Iowa.
Absolutely. It's kind of been a series here the last couple of weeks with Winona State and Upper Iowa, and in this match, Upper Iowa got the best of our young volleyball team. But you know, we've talked about it all year. They are young. They're going to go through some growing pains and stuff like that. And you get into a situation down in Upper Iowa where they actually had a great crowd there. It was kind of a ruckus environment, and can be really difficult to perform at a high level in that kind of environment. But you know, yeah, they fell. It was a 5-set. It was a thrilling match, and so this weekend an opportunity to bounce back against a couple of good opponents here at home. Of course, all weekend long we're doing breast cancer awareness weekend, and then the big whiteout Saturday where we have 3 events.
Yeah, make sure you catch Warrior Volleyball at McCown Gymnasium on Friday as they take on the U of Mary. Another team that also traveled down to Fayette, Iowa, Travis, the Warrior football team, had a commanding victory, 42-14, and it was really a tale of two halves as they scored 28 points unanswered in the second half.
Absolutely. They really turned it on in the second half, and how about Evan Aber really coming out and having a great game. Passed for over 300 yards and really had a solid day, 4 touchdowns, and he stepped up well too, over 100 yards receiving. And I think a good way to wrap up the game down in Upper Iowa, and you know, I think a lot of important games coming up here as they host Minnesota State Mankato here on Saturday. Again, encouraging fans to wear white. And then a couple of big games on the road at Duluth and Concordia St. Paul, so it's not going to get any easier. They needed that one at Upper Iowa. They got it and did what needed to be done.
Warrior soccer team got underway this weekend after a somewhat of an off week. They split with UMD and then losing. They beat UMD but then lost to a very talented Bemidji State team. Yeah,
Bemidji State came into that one. They were undefeated at the time. They dropped the one after, but a good team in Bemidji. They seemed to have our number last year as well one time. So a good win, or you know, a tough loss there, and then a good win coming back the next day against University of Minnesota Duluth, winning a thriller 2-1 on a penalty kick.
Another great standout of the day, Melissa Sellier, who really only had the 2 goals for Winona State as they took on Bemidji State, and then she made things happen in that UMD game that eventually led to the penalty kick for the win.
Well, I talked about it a couple of weeks ago here, is that I really believe she's a huge key to the team. When she's playing well, they do very well. She's been on top of her game the last couple of weeks, but great to see a very hardworking student-athlete perform well on the field.
Warrior men's golf and women's golf got underway. Men's in particular, as they traveled down to New Mexico, some far travels as they got underway. A great weekend as far as getting started, and a few guys that we could name here real quick in the NSIC RMAC crossover tournament who had great days was Tyler Schmoody and James Krantz.
Yeah, those 2 guys tied for 33rd place, excuse me, and they both just continue to get better throughout their rounds. But great for our golf program to go down to New Mexico, get some in-region competition, which is always huge. We talk about that all the time. So a great outing down there, and then they'll have their NSIC conference tournament coming up here this weekend in Hudson, Wisconsin. So obviously a lot at stake, and that New Mexico was kind of a great warm-up for that.
Cross country also got underway as they traveled up to Falcon Heights, Minnesota, up there in Minneapolis, and they took part in the Roy Griak Invitational, and they continue to run very consistently.
Yeah, you know, the women had 3 in the top 100. We talk about Kayla Gudmundson quite often, but Jenna Southworth and Kelsey Stenslin, all 3 got in that top 100. So great to see out of that women's cross country team. And the men keep going as well with Brian Lindquist and Kyle Damon, who keep doing a nice job as well.
Well, it should be a great weekend for Winona State sports as we try to white out on Saturday. Volleyball, soccer, football, all getting underway. It should be a great atmosphere all around campus. Make sure you tune in if you can't make it down to the stadium to 89.5 KQAL for pregame and Warrior game day that should be taking place, and it should be another great atmosphere, as it always is. Another night game starting at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, really excited about this weekend. We've had a couple weeks here where our teams have been on the road, and now 5 home events. Come out, support Warriors, but also support breast cancer awareness. $1 per every ticket sold at all 5 events goes and is donated to Winona Health Mammography Department. So it's a great cause and a chance to support Winona State. But you're exactly right with the football game under the lights. Great atmosphere. Love it.
Should be a great weekend for Winona State sports. That'll do it for this week's edition of Warrior Weekly. We'll see you next week.